We've had some really interesting visits in recent months. German Prime Minister, Japanese PM came to visit, and both of them really made the case that there is demand for Canadian LNG abroad. And we know why that is, improving energy security in times of some geopolitical uncertainty, enabling energy-hungry markets to switch fuels and reduce emissions, and those possibilities are truly pretty endless. Bevin, starting with you, is there anything you wish that people knew more about the demand side of the equation?
Well, I could talk for hours on this subject. As I mentioned, over the last 15 years, I've witnessed personally, and I've been in discussions around how our Canadian industry, whether it be the upstream that can support the LNG development, and the LNG facilities themselves are not only world-class based on world-class developments, they're cost competitive, and they're also done at the highest sustainable standards globally and environmentally. And we're really proud to be partnering with LNG Canada on this project because, their facility has the lowest emission intensity, and Haisla, who will be around the corner with Cedar, will even beat them in terms of the impact. And what I often hear is, well, the problem is in Europe, or the problem is somewhere else. LNG is a global fungible commodity, and the commodity can be diverted by pointing LNG barrels over to Asia, which has half of the sail time than from the Gulf Coast. It can offset the growing utilization and reliance on coal. So post the tragic invasion in Ukraine, we saw the highest increase in emissions in a single year, and it's because there was a resurgence of coal-fired fuel usage across the globe. And so I wish people would understand that LNG is a low-carbon fuel, a low-carbon solution, and is in parallel with energy transition and can support energy transition in other parts of the world where there isn't an ability to have gas like we have in their backyard. We've benefited, I live in Alberta, we've benefited from being able to, within a few years, we'll have gone from 80% reliance on coal-fired power generation in the province to zero. And that's only because we have gas in our backyard. So we can get gas in the backyards of Asian communities and other communities that don't have access to that energy and transition their lives as well. And that's a win for BC, it's a win for Canada, and it's a win globally, because this problem that we have in terms of climate change is a global problem, not a local problem.
Yeah, we're so lucky, and sometimes that global perspective is a little bit hard to miss. As I warm myself in front of this great, clean-burning, fire in front of us, really reminded of this privilege that we have. So many stories coming out of Europe, people going into forests and chopping down conserved trees because the gas bill got so high they couldn't even keep their house warm. So, let's build it. Let's enable the world to come and take the product from us. And how about you, Jason? How would you put it in terms of the global side?
Yeah, I could agree completely with Bevin. I think the war in Ukraine has reminded people of the importance of having a reliable energy supply. And of course, as part of the energy transition, people want a responsibly produced energy supply. And Canada is blessed with amazing natural resources, particularly here in BC. And we have the opportunity to produce those in a more responsible way than many other countries, and share that with our allies by going through facilities like LNG Canada that are the lowest carbon intensity of any in the world. And I was fortunate enough, or really honored, to attend the luncheon last week in Ottawa with the Japanese Prime Minister and Prime Minister Trudeau. And the Japanese Prime Minister called out LNG Canada by name as a flagship project for Japan's energy security and for their decarbonization, because it is about displacing coal, it is about displacing Russian gas, and it is about having that security of supply. And the other piece, people talk about the Paris Agreement in the West very much as a decarbonization journey. But the Paris Agreement is really two pieces. It's about more energy and cleaner energy. There's 1 billion people in the world that live in energy poverty, that can't flip on light switches, can't get in a car and drive somewhere, can't turn on their stove. If they want to cook something, they got to go find some wood and burn it. And we all take that for granted. The Paris Agreement commits the world to bring those people out of energy poverty. So we have to double the amount of energy in the world between kind of 2000 and 2050 and reduce the emissions by 100% to get to net zero. These are incredibly complicated, and it's not going to be achievable without natural gas displacing coal as quickly as possible. So absolutely, BC has the resources. It's about the willingness to share those in a responsible way with our partners.